I love sports. I love football. I was a Husky boy, if you can tell, right? I know athletes in the room. Our abs of steel goes to abs of meals after a few years, right? It happens. But man, I love football. My hero was Larry Zonka. Larry Zonka, you remember him? Syracuse Dolphins would run over players, block for Mercury Morris, Jim Kick, all those guys. Back in the day, we couldn't buy those fancy jerseys the kids walk around with now. We had to make the jerseys with a white T-shirt and a marker. And so I made a jersey, CSONKA 39. I'm walking around the house, Larry Zonka, and my sisters are making fun of me. And my mom's like, what's up with this? What is that? I said, Mom, it's Larry Zonka. He's my hero. I want to be like him. My mom, her family's Hungarian. She looked at me, looked at the name, looked at me, and said, Michael, Zonka in Hungarian means fat ham. So here I am, a Husky boy, walking around like a fat ham. As I grew, I kept playing sport, got into high school. I want you to hear this because this ties into what I'm going to share about our identity. I put everything into sport. I put everything into performing. I put everything into trying to impress others. A long time ago, I had some nice hair. Woo, man, impressed the girls with my Elvis swoop. I tried to impress everyone. I kept trying to go to the next level of what it would take to impress someone. Got into high school, and all of a sudden, I'm turning 18, and I'm sneaking into Wisconsin getting drunk and stoned because I thought that would impress some guys. I thought that would impress some people I was with. An assistant coach came alongside me and some others. He said, why don't you come to my church one morning? We got a gym, shoot some hoops. I thought, that's pretty cool. He said, get here a half an hour early next week, I'll make pancakes. I thought, that's really cool. Fritz Dale, April 4th, 1981, led myself, Tom Miner, Jim Eck, and Bruce Morris to the tree of life, to the foot of the cross. We accepted Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior. Fast forward, if you will, Justice. I want to do two quick slides just to give you a sense of what I do. This is what I do with my staff. We serve 14 counties, city of Richmond. Thousands of athletes and coaches in this area. Just like Fritz did for me, God called me to FCA. When I started with FCA, Mike Keck, who's a member here, who's on our board, he said, why don't you come visit Bon Air Baptist Church? We've got the Huguenot football team there. You can meet the team and the coaches. Now, they're one of the groups pictured on the bottom right and left that we go out and serve. The University of Richmond has a baseball ministry, baseball Bible study with the players. Some of you saw Bernard Longer at one of our events back in October. We do coaches outreach, trying to influence those coaches. They've got more influence. They're going to impact more people in 1 year than most people will in a lifetime. And real quickly, the last photo on the top left, me and my teammate over in China, Peter, doing Christian ministry with basketball in China. North Korea has been in the news lately. We got a special covert operation named Paul doing Christ-centered ministry in North Korea through sport. It's amazing what God has done. I want to flip to this next one, God's game plan. This is real quick. This is the vision, to impact the world for Jesus Christ through the influence of athletes and coaches. We live in a trophy generation, but it doesn't stop there. It's a scholarship, multi-million-dollar contracts. It just keeps growing and growing. So that's what I am called to do. Pastor Tom said, don't do, be. Maybe that's what I'm called to be, right? We're all called to be something. We're all called to have a circle of influence to influence others. Let's have a little contest here, all right? We're going to talk about identity. Everyone take out your wallet. Mike is okay, I'm doing a fundraiser up here, a little impromptu. Mike Young, I'll split it with you, 70-30, all right? We're good. Just real quick, we're going to have a contest. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, including my business card, 7 forms of identity. Real quickly, count how many things identify you in your wallet alone. Just real quick. It's going to take like 10 seconds, 15 seconds. Just real quick. We've got to be rapid here. How many things identify you? I don't know how we do this. We go backwards. Who's got more than 7? Keep your hands up. Who's got more than 10? Who's got more than 12 forms of identity? We got a few. Who's got more than 15? Holy smokes, how thick is your wallet? All right, here we go. This gentleman right here. I've got a little, you come up here afterward and get that. This is for you right here. A solid imitation piece of gold prayer coin. Mike, you going to help run this back to him? And a pocket-size devotion, teamwork playbook. Right? We go through life and we get things start to identify us. You know, what do we do or what do we want? I know everyone's familiar with the verse out of Psalm 139. It says, you know, we're knit together in our mother's womb. In Psalm 22:9, it says, God took us from our mother's womb. He knew us. He put a stamp of identity on us. But from birth, all of a sudden we start going through life and we start trying to put different identities on ourselves. So what does this look like? Let's talk a little bit about performance-based identity. Check this swag out right here. This thing is sweet. Look at this. I'm going to put this on. I hope this. Yeah, go to that next slide, if you will. Check this out. You still hear my mic through that? Yeah. Tim, I know you want this jersey, man, because you'd look ripped in this. All right, we go through life. Look at this. It starts at an early age. If you reflect back when you're on the playground, and you're picked for the team. Remember that? Playground, everyone's lined up. Everyone's lined up looking big. Who's usually picked first? Shout it out. Who's picked first? The big one, fastest, strongest, tallest. Who's usually picked last? Come on, brother. Sportable. Come on now. The smallest, the run. You know, Pastor Tom's been talking about David. God's looking at his heart. God wasn't looking at all this stuff, but it starts early. All of a sudden we get labeled. Husky boy, slow, can't shoot, can't run. We start getting stuff slapped on us. And we start walking through the school halls. And we get into middle school and high school. And then our performance, bedroom, backseat of a car, or barnyard. We think about sex nonstop. How many women can you grab? How many women can you sleep with? It may sound judgmental, but it's reality, man. We think about eating, sex, eating, food, sometimes sports. That's the way we're wired. I don't know why. But we start basing and comparing and judging, especially the teenagers, especially the college-age guys. Then we get into college, and we get more stuff labeled on us. Where are we going to school? I'm going to Ivy League, you're going to a JUCO. I'm playing Division I, you're playing Division III. I've got an internship up on Wall Street. You're working over there somewhere in like Farmersville or somewhere, you know. I know it's called Farmville. It's a joke with someone. We start getting labeled. All this stuff starts getting stuck on us. And it doesn't stop there. Man, it doesn't stop there because we go through life and that performance-based self-worth that started on the ball field that may have been the first label to stick to us and we become known for. And then we go into high school and we get a reputation or we do something that we regret. And we graduate, we start thinking, well, what sort of job you have? Where do you live? What sort of car do you drive? Where do you go on vacation? Because I'm going away to my mountain house. Nothing wrong with any of that stuff. But if we're so focused on the facts that our self-worth or our identity is based on our performance or the impression of others, to Alan's point, our eyes are going to be blind. We're going to miss what God has called us to do. We get all this stuff sticking to us. And here's the reality, what God says. I may have this FCA shirt on. Right? He looks at us here. We're clean, we're pure, we're a new creation, it says in Corinthians. God looks at us as a new creation when we accept Him. We're adopted by Him. I used to work at an adoption agency. It was pretty cool when you see that kid going into his or her forever family with all rights and privileges of that family. It says we call out to God, Father, Abba, Daddy, Papa. He doesn't look at all this stuff. He doesn't care about all this stuff. Right? I speak to a lot of teams and coaches and do coaches Bible study at University of Richmond with all different coaches in football and baseball. And I share with them, with all due respect, God doesn't care if you're 11-1 or 1-11. I know the AD does. I know that's what you're called to do with work, but God looks at your heart. Man, God looks at our heart as David's heart was looked at by God. The world was looking at the outward appearance, the outward success. But God's looking at our heart. So it begs the question, what are we called to do? I'm going to read this. This is something I heard or saw a few years ago. A paperclip. You know who invented the paperclip? I didn't know until I looked it up. Samuel Fay in 1867 got the patent for the paperclip. Now listen to this real quick. Lloyd's Bank of London undertook a study a few years ago on paperclips. 100,000 paperclips were distributed. Out of the 100,000 paperclips, 3,916 were used to unplug tobacco pipes. 5,300 were used to clean fingernails. 5,423 were used to pick teeth or scratch ears. You got the office guys now are thinking, I will never do that again. That's really gross. 7,200 were used for hooks for belts, suspenders, or bras. 14,163 were snapped, broken, or otherwise twisted during phone conversations. 19,143 became mock poker game chips, and approximately 25,000 became lost or thrown away. Only 20%, about 20% were used for their original purpose. That's sort of a crazy way to have an analogy back to Christianity. But if there was an original intent for this, to hold something together, the question is, what's our purpose? What has God called us to do? If you skip ahead of that cord of 3 strands, right? You know this verse. I'm a visual guy, as you can tell. So check this out. This thing is sweet right here. This is a big jump rope right here. I had my son Noel do 100 jump ropes with this thing. Remember that verse in Ecclesiastes? A cord of 3 strands is not easily broken. Sometimes in life we start out like this, nice and strong, got this strong cord of 3 strands, but life goes on, stuff happens, and all of a sudden we start becoming frayed. Not afraid, but frayed might cause to being afraid, but still a cord of 3 strands. And again, my challenge is to us is who are the other 2 guys in your life? Who are the other 2 that can hold you together when you're going through something? When the world starts tearing you apart? USS Indianapolis was sunk after they were coming back from taking apart the atomic bomb, and the ship exploded. Thousands of guys died. Like 300 some survived. Those guys were bobbing in the water, waiting for the sharks to attack. Most of those who survived were buddied up with someone who were helping them out. You start thinking of the biblical heroes. Going back to that paperclip, what were they called to do? Moses. What did Moses tell God? I can't speak, God. I don't care. Get Aaron to go with you. You're good. You got this. Joshua. Moses, his coach, died. Whoa, I'm an instant leader. I got like 1.7 million people I'm supposed to lead. God, don't be strong and courageous. You got this. His mentor was gone. Be bold and courageous. Gideon was hiding. Angel of the Lord came and said, come on, mighty warrior, let's go. Let's go. Oh, he gave him 300 men. That was enough because God was with him. You think of Paul. Murderer, thief, liar. His eyes were opened. God utilized him in a mighty way. Of course, Jesus abandoned, beaten beyond recognition, betrayed, left alone, left hung naked on a cross for the world to see. Yet he knew his purpose. It says in Hebrews, for the joy that was before him, he endured the cross. He knew his purpose. He knew why he was here. Eric Liddell, a great Olympian from the 1920s, Chariots of Fire, the movie, he refused to run on the Sabbath. But he knew his purpose. He said, I believe God made me fast. And when I run, I feel his pleasure. He knew that God had gifted him. He knew that God had put a circle of influence around him to influence others, to encourage others. There are a lot of opportunities out there to partner with groups like FCA and Noble Warriors, groups within this church, to use your circle of influence to get one or two other men to an event like this in the fall, maybe, to start expanding the ministry we're called for. I pray that our eyes will be opened. I pray that we'll have the courage of Joshua. I pray as we leave here, and I'll end with this, I pray that as we leave here, just as Joshua told the Israelites in Joshua chapter 1, verse 11, go through the camp, fill in the blank, go through your house, go through your community, go through the camp, gather the resources, whatever that looks like. Because in 3 days we're moving out to take the land the Lord our God has given us. If we call ourselves Christians, God has called us to make disciples down the road, at Huguenot and Thompson, within the communities that you live and serve, through the men's ministry that Mike's re-engaging and launching again, if you will. There are opportunities all around us, so I thank you for your time. I thank you for the opportunity to share with you, and I pray that you'll be encouraged through this event and future events. God bless you.